This is the gusset fix video for Subaru Forester. I'm first rolling down the window. Then what I've got to do is get the little tweeter cover off, if you got a tweeter there. And it really just snaps off. Next thing you want to do is pull the actual tweeter out if you have tweeters. You do not have to disconnect that wire. The tweeter just pops out, it kind of snapped in there. Then you can let it hang by the wire. Next you got to pull the screw covers off. Next thing you want to do, there's 3 screws. You want to remove those screws. These actually hold the mirror on. I'm just trying to put the screws somewhere where I don't lose them. Some of these screws are way on inside there, and you could, if you don't use a magnetic screwdriver or something, you could lose them down inside the door panel. In that case, if you don't have other screws, or in any case, I guess you'd probably want to get those out of there, which would require you taking the door panels off and finding the screws. So be real careful pulling them out. I did find that one a little bit tight, so be careful not to strip the screws. Again, on this first one, on the driver's side, I honestly have never done this before. I just learned about this on a forum. I'm just trying to be real careful getting these screws out. I changed screwdrivers to a different size Phillips head, so I would not strip the head out. Once you get the screws loose, the mirror is actually in there. It kind of sticks in with a couple of little extrusions that poke into some rubber. It's got a good seal there. And if you have the electric mirrors, it will have a wire there. And I just let it hang from the wire. It didn't seem to hurt anything. And you can see the gap in between the gusset there. And what you're going to do is take the vice grips. These are welder's vice grips, and if you see this red line drawn, that is where the actual metal is, or real close to it. You want to make sure you get that vice grip on that metal, because that is what you were squeezing together to close that gap a bit so you don't have all that air noise. And I'm just testing it out, lining it up. I'm not really squeezing hard because you do not want to damage the rubber. So that's why you want to put a cloth or something over it, and then kind of feel your way around it. Put the vice grips over it, and then squeeze them. And I started out, you know, kind of wide, didn't give it much at all to begin with. And I probably did it about 4 different stages, making that gap smaller and smaller. And you'll see I also tested the window coming up, because you do not want to get it so tight that your window will not roll up. But you do want to get it as tight as you can without, you know, putting any pressure on your window motor when the window comes up. But I can tell you this was very easy, especially I did the second one probably less than half the time that I did this first one here. And it is effective. It takes that wind noise out of the gusset without having to purchase new gussets, which costs anywhere from $70 to $100, and then either you got to put them in or have a mechanic put them in. And to do that, you actually got to take the full door panel off and unscrew the whole gusset and put the new ones in. But this took care of it, you know, just for probably once you do, after you do the first one, it might take you 15 minutes to do the second one. Just being careful. I could probably do it much faster now. You see I'm going back. I've tightened the vice grips a little bit more, and we're going to get that gap even tighter. We're just basically pulling those metal plates that hold the rubber inside the gusset there a little tighter together. From what I understand, the way that gusset gap gets too big are people grabbing the window and opening and closing the door by pressing on the window or pushing the window. So what you want to do is just close the door by either, you know, pushing the door itself or the door handle. Do not use the window to open and close your doors. That is what puts pressure on that gusset and stretches it out. You can see the gap is getting a little skinnier here, and I'm tightening up the vice grips again. I'm going to go even tighter with it. And of course you saw that I'm also checking that the window will still go up and down easily. I did not go too far on any of them, so I don't know what you could do to stretch it back out if you went too tight where the window wouldn't go up easily. I realize this is a long, sort of boring video, but I kind of wanted everybody that wanted to attempt it to kind of see what I went through, because this was the first time and I really didn't have any instruction other than, you know, reading somebody on a forum, on a Subaru forum, telling how to actually, you know, do this. So I strapped the camera to my head, and this is what you're seeing. And I finally got it as tight as I want it, as tight as I would go. And I'm pushing the mirror back into its little rubber places there, and it kind of snaps in place. And then you'll go through and put the screws on. And what I'm using is a screw holder. I'm sure you can get them from different outlets, but one side is for a flathead screw, the other's for a Phillips head, and it's kind of spring loaded. You kind of cock the thing, stick the screw head in and pop it, and it holds the screw there, because again, when you're going into these, if you don't have a way to do this, I guess you could use a piece of tape on the end of your screwdriver, because you do not want these screws to fall into the door. Otherwise you're going to have to fish them out sometime, which probably means taking the door panel off. A lot more work than I wanted to do. So especially this middle screw here, you can see how far it goes in, and that screw holder was just awesome for doing this. this point I'm just going back and tightening those screws I got in there. You want to get them just snug. You don't want to tighten them too hard, strip the screw heads, or you know, do any other damage like that. Just get them nice and snug. Now all I'm doing is going to snap the speaker wire into place, and then, or the tweeter, and then just snap the tweeter back into its little position there. Really no tools required, you just press it on. And then the little tweeter cover goes over that, and you're pretty much done with it. Oh, I forgot to put the screw covers back in. I'm assuming the screw covers will help keep some of that wind noise out also. I guess if you have those off, you got the ability for wind to come through into your car. So don't forget the little screw covers like I did. And that's it. I'm just testing the window, making sure it's still good. Now there's a little rubber on top. I went back with some liquid tape and fixed that broken rubber.